The world saw him as untouchable, powerful, ruthless, a millionaire CEO who had everything: wealth, status, respect. But what he didn't know was that life had hidden from him something money could never buy: blood, family, love. One rainy evening, as his expensive car rolled to a stop outside a cafe, a little girl with striking blue eyes knocked on his window. She wasn't begging for money, wasn't asking for food. She simply whispered, "Sir, can you take me home?" Those eyes so familiar, so piercing, mirrored his own. Suddenly, the walls he had built around himself began to crumble. Could it be? The child he never knew existed. The daughter fate had kept from him. In that single moment, his past mistakes came crashing back, forcing him to face a truth he had run from his entire life. The night was quiet, except for the hum of the city. Tall skyscrapers glittered with neon lights, while the streets below reflected the drizzle of rain. Inside a black luxury car sat Alexander Reed, a man who had built an empire from nothing. At only 40, he was the CEO everyone envied: wealthy, cold, untouchable. He believed he had sacrificed everything for success, and for years, he convinced himself it was worth it. But fate often waits for the right moment to strike. That evening, as he leaned back in his leather seat, scrolling through numbers on his phone, a soft knock pulled him out of his thoughts. He lowered the window, expecting a beggar, maybe someone asking for change. But what he saw disarmed him completely. A little girl. She couldn't have been more than 5 or 6. Her clothes were simple, her shoes wet from puddles, but her eyes, blue, full of innocence, stared at him without fear. "Sir," she whispered softly, "can you take me home?" Alexander blinked. He didn't understand. Children didn't just walk up to him like this. Something about her gaze unsettled him, striking a chord deep within. "Where are your parents?" he asked, his voice colder than he intended. The girl tilted her head. "Mommy is working late. I don't like walking alone in the dark." She paused, then smiled faintly. "You look like someone I know." His chest tightened. Her smile, her small nose, even the way she stood it, was hauntingly familiar. He brushed off the thought, shaking his head. No, impossible. But as the driver opened the door to help, Alexander found himself stepping out instead. He crouched down to meet her eyes. "What's your name?" The girl didn't hesitate. "Leela." The name hit him like a storm. His pulse quickened. Leela was the very name he and Emma, his first love, once dreamed of giving their daughter, back when they were young and reckless. Back before he chose ambition over love, he hadn't seen Emma in 6 years. Their last conversation was filled with anger, his voice echoing with arrogance as he told her that business came first. He remembered her tears, the way she begged him to stay, to choose family over contracts. But he didn't listen. He walked away, and now here stood this girl. With Emma's eyes, his jawline, and the very name they once promised. Alexander's throat went dry. "Where's your home, Lila?" he asked, his voice trembling for the first time in years. "Down the street," she said cheerfully, pointing to a small neighborhood tucked between towering buildings. "Come on, I'll show you." Against every instinct, he followed. His polished shoes splashed against puddles as the little girl skipped ahead, humming softly. Each step felt heavier, his mind screamed with questions. But his heart already knew the answer, he was too afraid to say aloud. When they reached the building, Alexander froze. It wasn't luxury, it was modest, even shabby compared to his penthouse view. Lila turned, her little hand resting on the rusted gate. "Thank you, mister," she said sweetly. "Mommy will be happy I got home safe." And then it happened. The door opened. A woman stepped out, holding a stack of papers in her arms, exhaustion written across her face. Her hair was longer, her figure more graceful, but her eyes, brown, fiery eyes, were the same ones he remembered. Emma. Her gaze locked on him. For a moment, time froze. The stack of papers slipped from her hands and scattered in the wind. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Alexander's world collapsed. In that instant, the truth was staring at him, undeniable. Lila wasn't just a child who needed a ride. She was his child. The papers scattered like broken pieces of the past, floating in the wet night air before soaking into the puddles at Emma's feet. She didn't move to pick them up. Her eyes were frozen on him, cold, sharp, and heavy with years of silence. "Alexander," she breathed, her voice trembling between disbelief and rage. Alexander's lips parted, but nothing came out. For the first time in years, the man who had silenced boardrooms and commanded armies of lawyers and executives stood utterly speechless, his chest constricted as he looked at her. then at the little girl now clinging to Emma's hand. Lila tilted her head in innocent curiosity. "Mommy, you know him?" Emma swallowed hard, then crouched down, smoothing her daughter's hair, her gaze never leaving his. "Yes, sweetheart," she whispered bitterly. "I know him, more than I ever wanted to." The words cut deeper than any deal gone wrong, deeper than failure itself. Alexander tried to step closer, but Emma held her arm out as though he were a threat. Her glare burned through him. "You don't get to come near her," she hissed. "Not after everything." Alexander's throat tightened. He wanted to speak, to explain, but how could he? What words could ever undo the past? He remembered the day he walked Owaima crying, clutching her stomach as she tried to tell him she was late, that she thought she might be pregnant. He dismissed her. He thought she was trying to trap him, to tie him down. His own words came back like a curse. "Pregnant? I don't need you. My company is my family." Now, staring at Leela, the truth mocked him. She wasn't just Emma's child. She was his blood. His mistake had grown into a beautiful little girl who had lived 5 years without him. "Emma," he finally managed, his voice breaking. "She's mine, isn't she?" Emma's laugh was bitter, hollow. "You think you get to ask that, now, after you left me, after you told me I meant nothing?" Her hand tightened protectively around Leela. "Yes, she's yours. And do you know what? She grew up without needing you. We survived without your money, without your name, without you." Alexander felt the words crush him like stones. He had built skyscrapers, but none of them could shield him from this storm. He reached out, but Emma flinched back, pulling Leela closer. "Emma, his voice cracked. "I didn't know. I was wrong. God, I was so wrong." Her eyes welled with tears, but they were not the kind he remembered, the soft, pleading ones from years ago. These were stronger, sharper, forged in years of pain and resilience. "You don't get to play the victim now," she snapped. "You chose your empire. You left me when I needed you most. You don't deserve her." The words pierced deeper than any dagger. He staggered back slightly, as though the truth itself had struck him down. Leela looked between them, confusion clouding her innocent face. "Mommy," she whispered. "Why are you mad?" Emma forced a smile, kneeling down to her daughter's height. "It's nothing, sweetheart. Let's go inside." Alexander couldn't bear it. The thought of losing her, never hearing her call him dad, was unbearable. He stepped forward desperately. "Emma, please, just listen to me." His voice shook with sincerity. "I know I was a coward. I chose money over love, pride over family. I thought success would fill the emptiness, but it never did. Every night, no matter how many zeros were in my bank account, there was this silence, this ache. And now I know why. It was because of her. Because of you." Emma's hand trembled as she held the doorframe. His words hit her, but she didn't want to let them. She had built walls, strong and unshakable, to protect her daughter. And yet, part of her heart, buried deep under betrayal, remembered the man she once loved, the man who once dreamed of naming their child Lila. Her silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Alexander, sensing her hesitation, pressed on. "Let me try. Let me be part of her life. I can't erase the past, but I can give her the future she deserves. I don't care about anything else anymore. Just don't shut me out." Tears slipped down Emma's cheeks despite her will. She shook her head, whispering, "You think it's that simple? You think showing up one night erases years of absence?" "No," Alexander admitted. "I know it doesn't, but I'll spend the rest of my life proving it to her. To you, just give me the chance." Lila tugged Emma's sleeve. "Mommy, can he come in?" she asked innocently, her eyes wide and pleading. The question shattered Emma's defenses. She looked down at her daughter, then back at Alexander. Her heart in war. Emma finally stepped aside. Just enough for him to glimpse the life he had missed. A small, humble apartment, drawings taped to the wall. A little pink backpack on the chair. It wasn't luxury, but it was home. "You don't deserve this chance," she whispered coldly, "but for her, I'll let you try. One mistake, one wrong step, you're gone, forever." Alexander's chest ached with a mixture of relief and guilt. He nodded, his voice trembling. "Thank you, I won't fail her, I swear it." As he stepped inside, Leela grinned and grabbed his hand, tiny, fragile, yet stronger than any contract he had ever signed. At that moment, Alexander Reed, the untouchable millionaire CEO, finally understood something money could never buy. Redemption didn't come from power. It came from the trust of a child who had unknowingly saved him. Alexander had everything the world could offer: wealth, power, reputation. Yet in one single night, he realized the greatest treasure he had ever abandoned was not locked in a vault or written on a contract. It was his own daughter's smile. This story reminds us of something we often forget. Money builds empires, but love builds home. Alexander's journey is a warning and a promise that no success is worth losing the people who make life meaningful. Now I want to ask you, if you were in Emma's place, would you let Alexander back into your daughter's life? Or would you close the door forever? Comment your thoughts below. Share this story with someone who needs the reminder. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories that touch the heart and stir the soul. Because sometimes, the richest people are the ones who have nothing money can buy.